Good evening. I've just been out in the garden doing a lot of work, and I've just noticed that the result in Norway is a positive one for Jehovah's Witnesses. Obviously, there's great sadness on the part of the ex-witness community that contributed a lot to the court case with their experiences, with video showings. So there's a large degree of favour, or well, there are a number of organisations that have developed that present themselves as though they're trying to be neutral. There was one that I looked at. In fact, I referred to it in one of the videos I've made on Norway. That sounds like they're trying to stop mandatory shunning in religions across the world. But when you investigate their site, you find that they don't talk about anybody except Jehovah's Witnesses. They claimed they were investigating 5 religions in the world, and yet every comment, basically, every video, is all based about Jehovah's Witnesses, and some of them on their communication with one another admit that they still believe the truth. They can't go off to Christendom. They can't go off to the Trinity doctrine or the born-again Christians or anything, because they still believe the truth as taught by Jehovah's Witnesses. But what they dislike strongly is the organisation, because of its policies, especially with regards to mandatory shunning. And in a sense, I agree with them, because I've experienced it. In fact, there are some members of my family, extended family, who continue to shun me. They choose to shun me. It's not mandatory because I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I was reinstated in 2013, and yet there are members of my family who are Jehovah's Witnesses who won't communicate with me. They won't talk to me. They're choosing to shun me. You'd think that Jehovah's Witnesses in their families of the same religion wouldn't do that. But people can choose whatever behaviour they want. They may have, they may have the freedom. But the point I've made in previous videos, because I'm quite pleasantly surprised, obviously, is that during 2024, the governing body started coming out with comments. In January, comments were made about Bible prophecy, that we at once said that those who died before the flood and those who died at Sodom and Gomorrah, they were killed. They've experienced the second death. There is no resurrection for them. And then a comment was made, we don't know. That's turned all those teachings that the society has taught for 50 years, maybe more, all on their head. In fact, they basically made the point, one of the governing bodies, was that Jehovah's the one who makes the decision, and his son, he's appointed as judge. It's not up to us to dictate. It's up to us to understand that he's a God of mercy, and he wants mercy rather than sacrifice. So that established a whole chain of events. You see, throughout 2024, we've had magazine articles, study articles, changing the arrangements. They've changed the arrangements for disfellowshipping. That's been cancelled. That's been got rid of. It's been updated. It's now called remove. In March broadcasting, it was stated that you can choose to shun or not. If someone who's a disfellowship person, you see them in the street, you can talk to them. If they come to the Kingdom Hall, you can talk to them. Obviously, you're not going to go and have a meal with them and socialise, but you can be friendly. You can choose to continue to shun them or not. In other words, mandatory shunning was stopped. Now, not everybody has cottoned on to this. Not all the elders have cottoned on to this. Not all the members within the congregations have cottoned on to this. And some will Even because mandatory shunning has gone, some will continue to choose to do it, as is in my case. So that has gone. Now what this Norwegian court did, because all kinds of comments were made by the ex-witnesses, they must have been bribed, the court is corrupt. You know, the court very reasonably listened to all the complaints, but all the complaints were made about events in the past. You see, the policies changed really completely by November 2024. The court case wasn't until a month or so ago, 2025. So the court has had to view it in relation to religious laws in Norway and the rest of Europe. And you see, religion should have its freedoms. If they make laws breaching Jehovah's Witnesses' freedoms as a religion, it affects all the other Christian religions. Well, all the other religions throughout the European Union. So they had to get a balance. And although the ex-JW community made all these comments that they've lied, the members from the Bethel and the legal team of Jehovah's Witnesses presented things as they are today. They didn't present them as they were before 2024, before the changes. So what is in the past is in the past. You can harp on about it if you want. Oh, they did that all those years ago. I could do the same. That's not fair. But if someone has made amends, if they've changed their course of action, you have to accept them from what they've done, from the change of action. And that's what Jehovah's Witnesses have done now. The court saw that and has decided to rule in their favour. So that's my comment, really. I'm going to conclude with a comment from David Splain. But a point that I want to make is that you may be upset. Put it to the test. Find out if your family members, if you're a disfellowship person who feels you're going to be mandatorily shunned, why don't you contact your family members who you feel are shunning you? Because if you don't contact them, you're shunning them back, aren't you? Why don't you initiate contact and see what happens? They can choose to shun you, or they can choose not to. They're certainly not going to become your best friend overnight, but put it to the test. And if they say something like, oh, I've got to shun you, say, no, you haven't got to. It's your choice. It's the choice of the individuals, just as it is in my case. This is a comment by David Splain.
Prevent us from carrying out our commission. You need a permit to go from house to house. You can't offer magazines on the street. You people are a dangerous sect. They've even enacted laws directed at stopping our work. Unless they change their ways, those lawmakers are going to be in big trouble. The word has gone out. As you go, preach. That great work will be accomplished with their support or in spite of them. Well, as we mentioned, fighters against God sometimes seem to get away with their acts of rebellion, but they're on a slippery slope. I can't express...
So my point is that the preaching of the good news is commanded by Jesus Christ. No one else is doing it. Jehovah's Witnesses will get it done because it's Jehovah's will. And yes, there are things that need to have been changed and improved, and they will continue to do so, because Jehovah himself will make sure through his Son that the governing body, those in Jesus Christ's household on earth, will obey him and comply with his directives, even if it means cleansing out things that have been done in the past or may still not be done. They will receive discipline from Jesus himself, and they will do as he's commanded. And that's why Jehovah's Witnesses continue to preach the good news, and will have God's Holy Spirit in doing it, because it's a task he's commanded to have completed before Armageddon. Thank you very much and take care.